Alright, hey guys, another question. Here we have, why did God create the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Alright, so this question is interesting. There's, I think, two reasons. There's a surface reason that we kind of see in Genesis, and there's a reason that we see later in the New Testament. Um, and the second one can be argued for or argued about more. The first one is kind of agreed upon, right? So the first reason is that God, when He puts Adam and Eve in the garden, He makes a covenant with them, and He establishes His law over His people there in the garden. So He creates Adam and Eve in His image. He is their God. They are His people. He places them in His land in the garden, and then He makes an agreement with them. Do not eat. You can eat of any of the trees, but this one, and if you do, you will die. And so this is often called the probationary period. And if you guys know what probation is, it's basically the opportunity that a convict gets to prove that he is changed, right? Where if he does it again, then he'll be put back in prison. If he stays clean or doesn't commit a crime, then he'll be set free eventually. And so that's kind of there was a period of time that we don't know in which God is testing Adam by placing the tree in the garden to say, if you follow my command, you'll live, and if you don't, you'll die. And so that is the kind of surface level reason, is that God makes His covenant and then seeks to test Adam to see whether he fulfill it or not. And ultimately they fail, right? Now I would argue that it was God's plan, His sovereign kind of overhead plan for Adam to actually fail. And so because He could have not place a tree in the garden. If you say, well, why did He do this covenant? Why did He do it this way? Why did He? Those are kind of your questions now. Then I would say that I think He had every intention that Adam would fall. And the reason for that is that we see in Colossians, Paul says that all things were created by Jesus, through Jesus, and for Jesus. And so if the plan from all eternity is that God would redeem fallen sinners through Jesus Christ, then that means that the fall was part of that plan. That you can't redeem unfallen people. It doesn't make any sense. So I would argue that part of the reason for placing the tree in the garden is for the reason of the fall happening. That Adam would be deceived, or Eve would be deceived and would deceive Adam no matter what. And because the world is created for Christ, that it's about His glory and His kingdom and His people that He is redeeming by His work on the cross and His life and His resurrection. And if that's true, then God putting the tree in the garden it makes sense. Why would He do that? Well, because He plans on making things even better than the way He originally made them, because He's going to allow the fall and then redeem us from it, and bring us to Himself in a way in which Adam and Eve did not even know in the garden. So that's a short answer. There's been a lot of theological ink spilled over this topic, I think, if I had to guess, and some of it I've read, some of it I haven't read all of it, but that's the answer I would give. And there are people who disagree with me straight up, everything I just said. So again, you guys are asking me the questions, which are my answers. I think I can defend it from Scripture. Like I said, I went to Genesis, went to Colossians, right? So, but don't take my word for it. Go read Colossians. Go read Genesis. Go read these passages that I'm quoting and see if it makes sense. So there you go. All right. Next question.